The Book of Job, Ayub, a philosophical drama. The Book of Job is the nearest approach to formal drama in the Bible, into the framework of an old pre-Deuteronomic folktale, retained in the prologue and epilogue, one of the greatest of the world's poets, inserted in the 4th century BCE, a series of impassioned dialogues culminating in the speech of God as noun and verb out of the whirlwind. The folktale itself already had a spacious setting in the golden age of patriarchs when the so-called sons of God walked with men, but in essence it was a simple story of piety rewarded after suffering, or at least difficulty. Such as is common in most religious literature is often its underlying idea is still reflected in the current phrases, now however often used with a shade of disparagement. He has the patience of Job, or he is as patient as Job. In the dramatic section of the book, Job is shown as anything but patient. With increasing anger, scorn, and despair, he answers the traditional insistence of his 3 friends that his sufferings are a punishment for sin. Well, patient is not necessarily agreeing with whatever people say. Responding, you can be very patient and respond all the time, until the argument is ended by the voice of God as a noun and verb, and Job, overwhelmed by the divine majesty, admits that the problem of evil is too deep for the human mind to solve. A stupid interpolator inserted just before the whirlwind, an insufferably long and tedious speech by a 4th friend of Job, since it contributes nothing of importance to the discussion and interrupts the dramatic flow of the poem. It is omitted in this text. I don't know, maybe that's even the best part of the whole book, at least for some people, or what the effect upon them might be. In one section, where there's an obviously incorrect sequence of speeches, a slight rearrangement also seemed necessary, following the order adopted by Moulton in the Modern Reader's Bible. The Book of Job, a philosophical drama. Characters in the prologue and epilogue: God as noun and verb, Ha-Shathan, not Ha-Sathan, but Ha-Shathan, the continual scourge, not the adversary, by the way. The sons of God, Job, so don't only son stuff. It's a figure of speech. First messenger, second messengers, third messenger, Job's wife, Eliphaz the Temanite, I'll try to Hebraize these names as it goes by, right? Bildad the Shuhite, Zophar the Namathite. Characters in the drama: Job, Eliphaz the Temanite, the voice out of the whirlwind, Bildad the Shuhite, Zophar the Namathite. And the prologue: there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Ayub, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God, that feared divinity, and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters, and his substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-donkeys, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the children of the East. And his sons went and held a feast in the house of each one upon his day. And they sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Ayub sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Ayub said, it may be that my sons have sinned and renounced God in their hearts. I'm not sure what word they're using for God there, but thus did Ayub continually. Now there was a day when those called sons of God came to present themselves before God as noun and verb, and Satan came also among them. Because in some context, that figure of speech applies to the devils, right? And God as noun and verb said unto Ha-Shathan, whence comest thou? Then Ha-Shathan answered God as noun and verb and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And God as noun and verb said unto Ha-Shathan, hast thou considered my servant Ayub? For there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God as noun and verb, and escheweth evil. Then Ha-Shathan answered God as noun and verb, and said, doth Ayub fear God for naught? Hast not thou made a hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will renounce thee to thy face. And God as a noun and verb said unto Ha-Shathan, behold, all that he hath is in my power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Ha-Shathan went forth from the presence of God as a noun and verb, and it fell on a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine, their eldest brother's house, that there came a messenger unto